scared we were going to be alone without you. Hey. Okay, so hello. Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. These final hours of the conference. Hope you're having a good time and enjoying. And I hope this panel gives you a bit of more value. So yeah, we're going to be talking about your data, your income. It's all about data ownership, which is one of the big promises of Web3, I think. Very important. And maybe you guys can introduce yourself a little bit. We don't have a lot of time. We have 20 minutes. So
ladies first?
Yeah.
Okay. So great to meet you both in person, finally.
First time.
I'm Ioana Surpateanu. To simplify, my background is in TradFi and politics. I worked at Citigroup for over 4 years, dealing with crypto in a variety of niches. I then moved over to DeFi, strictly DeFi, as I was working with an Oracle provider, a decentralized Oracle provider for over 1 year. And I currently am Chief Innovation Officer for Swash, which is a Web3 data monetization platform and the focus of my discussion today. But in parallel, I sit on the board of Cripto UK and also on the board of the Multi-Chain Asset Managers Association. And I support a variety of projects in advisory roles, projects stemming from open metaverse, next-gen DeFi, and more generic Web3 projects, including digital fashion. So I do have a very filtered and eclectic approach, I would say.
And my name is Alfonso de la Rocha. I'm a research engineer at Protocol Labs, and I'm more into the storing of data because Protocol Labs is one of the companies behind open source projects like Filecoin and IPFS. And the idea of these projects is to, instead of relying in like AWS and all of these big tech infrastructures, to try and aggregate all of the market of storage and try to compete by aggregating the global resources and infrastructure that is out there. And it's a way also of like keeping some ownership. I mean, I don't think we're gonna be able to keep all of the ownership of our data, but at least it's some way to keeping a bit of the ownership of that data.
Fully agree. I just want to say thank you to the people who are still hanging in there. The weather is amazing, so really thank you. We appreciate you taking your time to listen to us. I probably wouldn't have, so I would probably be outside, so really appreciate it.
Me too, actually, to be fair. Okay, well, welcome. Thank you very much. My name is Sabrina Bonini. I'm the founder of Cripto's Cultura, which is an agency, a creative agency that helps brands and businesses actually give more ownership to the customers, right? So yeah, let's just dive in. So when we move from Web 1 to Web 2, from the information economy to the platform economy, at the beginning, we didn't really know that we were going to be the product, right? So our data suddenly is being monetized and owned by other people. And when we talk about data ownership, it's basically the right of an individual to control their data. But this is not happening really in today's world. But thanks to Web3, maybe we can start to own our data a bit more and actually monetize it. But my first question is, do you think the main public, the main consumer, really cares about owning their data?
You want me to start? It's going to be ladies first throughout.
Just this one.
Just for me to
next
know.
Next one,
I
it's mine.
appreciate it. Okay, next one is her. No, I actually appreciate it. I wanted to say thank you. Yeah, so to second on what you were saying, we had Web 1 moving to Web 2 and then to Web 3. I think it's important to dismantle this a little bit and try to explain what everything meant in simplistic and basic and very succinct terms. So Web 1 was about user centricity and user control, right? So that's how it started. That's how the web revolution started, with the Web 1 implementation. However, and it's a very important caveat, there were no reliable and sustainable monetization model. So you had Web 1, great, the user is in the center, everyone can in principle benefit, but people could not make money out of it. Entities could not make money out of it. Hence, the move into Web 2. And well, the correct, for that time, monetization models were found, but then we ended up in a situation where a handful of entities control our data, monopolize our attention, and do not give anything in return to the user. So that's the whole Web 2 platform monopoly kind of parameters. What Web 3 offers, and I completely agree with you, let's not pretend that it's going to be a flawless ecosystem. It's not, but it's going to return, and we are starting to see that, more power to the user and generate additional tools via which the individual data generator can monetize or get rewarded for the attention it provides, right? I think what's also important to add, and something that we do not talk about when it comes to Web 2, I mean, we talk about the fact that, okay, platforms take control of our data, we do not get anything in return, materialistically speaking or otherwise. I think the worst part is, or the additional, more black hole-ish aspect, is the fact that the data we generate is used by the said platforms via algos to create manipulation techniques that are going to be used against us to maintain that attention, right? To ensure that we get addicted to utilizing the platforms. The data that we generate, that data is pulled into algorithms, and then the best mechanics are designed in order to make sure that we never leave those platforms. And we can discuss, I mean, even now, we talk about Web3, and it's great, but the user aggregation for most Web3 projects happens on Web2 platforms. We all use Twitter, we all use LinkedIn, we all use Discord, etc., Telegram, etc., right? So it's also about that. And I think, digressing a little bit, that's why the whole open metaverse ecosystem and discussion is important, because we will create an alternative virtual economic ecosystem whereby, I mean, if AI is going to surpass humans, and it already is, we might at least be in control of it, as opposed to letting all of the control of that artificial intelligence to centralized entities, right? So this is, like I said, the kind of hidden bad part of Web 2 that no one talks about. And here we are in Web 3 via decentralized technologies that have been at play for over a decade. It's not something new. We have the capacity, we have the design module to enable users to get revenue out of sharing their data, to get revenue out of sharing their attention, and to learn how to monetize and be aware of their specific data rights. And I will stop in a second, leave it over to you. To answer the second part of your question, no. I think people being aware of their data and their data privacy rights is a very Western European and US-centric phenomenon. I don't think people in emerging markets even care about that. They would care about the monetization model, probably, for sure, actually, but they don't really care about those rights. I think they have bigger issues to deal with, like being locked out of banking systems or not really having a digital identity. So, yeah, this is also something that we need to remember, not to filter everything through the Western European and US lens.
Okay, so my take is that we don't care about like data ownership at all.
Not
like,
even in Europe?
Not even in Europe, like
well,
at all.
Yeah.
Like
okay,
you really need to give someone. So let's put the example of Google. Like, who can live without Google? And if you want to live, you can live without Google. Yeah, me too, but it's hard, right? Because it's everywhere. So you would have to fix identity. Like, I mean, it's really convenient to just sign in with your Google account, get inside everything, don't remember just one password. You need to give something that is as good as Google in order for people to be aware of data ownership. I have that for free. So I don't care about wallets. I don't care about having a digital wallet. Like, you need to fix identity. We need to fix email. Like, email is super broken. I mean, I don't know if there was in Hacker News recently this article from one guy that he was self-hosting his email for 10 years, and he had to stop completely his own service because all of the Googles, all of the Microsoft, all of these big tech were completely censoring their email. So it's great if we're into privacy, but we really need to create product, not only make people aware, but also create products that are good enough to compete with these big tech, and that's really hard. Even if we come up with the perfect digital identity, how do we migrate all of our data from Google to something else?
But that's exactly what I was saying earlier, talking about user and network effects, user aggregation and network effects in Web 2. It still happens in Web 2, even for even the most degen of DeFi projects, they still operate on Twitter, right? Yeah. Aside from other platforms.
So that's why my take is that we need a Trojan horse. Like, we need to, I mean, everyone tries to go like all Web3 from scratch. That's not gonna work. Like, we need products that are first approaching Web 2, showing the value of Web 2, and then moving into Web 3. And it's like Ethereum sign-in. I mean, having a wallet or having some kind of, I don't know, I see my mother like trying to sign in her bank account. It's crazy that she has to remember that amount of passwords. Like, just having a simple USB with your wallet, being able to sign in, not having to remember like 1,000 passwords or like having to sell your soul to Google, that's great. Like, a product that is just, forget about cryptocurrency, forget about Web3, forget about like all of this fancy stuff, just some kind of, oh, sorry, so buy Bitcoin, buy Ethereum. No, but for real, like, I think that going all Web3 hasn't worked, and this may be the last winter, so let's try and focus on doing like some applications that really get into the people and like have mass adoption. And the only way that we're gonna be able to do that, there's a lot of cool tech in Web3. So we have all of these cryptographic primitives like homomorphic encryption, like a lot of stuff on CK proofs, and all of that can be applied into real Web2 products and projects already. So let's try and like innovate Web 2 and then move step by step by Web 3. I mean, I don't think, and I'm a maximalist, by the way, and I don't think we're gonna make it like all the way to Web 3 right away, unfortunately.
On that point.
Yeah, Sabrina, I think we're gonna revamp our discussion flows because he's throwing things at me and I have to respond.
Go, please.
I'm sorry.
In a second. No. I agree with most of the things you were saying. I don't agree with the fact that using Google is free. That's what we were discussing. Yeah, it is free. It is convenient because we're used to, I guess, as a result of our education and kind of inherent way that makes us delegate responsibility for everything and makes us use the easiest solution. Yeah, we use Google because it's the predominant entity to use for what we need it for. But it's not free. I mean, the data gets in. Algos are working on our data. It's not free.
You know how it works. Like, if you go not to this audience, which is great and they know about tech, like go to someone that is, I don't know, like the guy in the bar or someone that doesn't have this technical background, you would ask him, like, how much you pay for Google? They will say none. Like, I have all of my photographs with Google Photos, and that's great. I can sign in into Instagram, and like I don't have to worry about. So that's why I say, like, you cannot make users eat glass in order to get privacy, because they're not going to do it. Like, privacy-preserving technologies right now, they are really expensive from a user experience perspective. And we cannot expect everyone to be able to use them. So that's my take, like, at least. That's why I think that we should try and approach all of the great innovation that we have in the Web3 space and try to move it into Web2, see if we can make it happen.
But homomorphic encryption is not a Web3 innovation.
Yeah, that's my point. But there's where it's being applied. And CK proofs, like, it's been around since the 80s, but where we're seeing like actual applications is in the Web3 space. So that's why I think that, I don't know, like, and maybe I'm wrong. Who knows?
No, you're not wrong. But I think in Europe, I think the guy at the bar or the girl at the bar knows about data privacy, if not just via the result of GDPR. It was so touted. Everyone knows about GDPR. It's almost infuriating because it's an annoying piece of legislation. I was in a corporation trying to implement it back at the day. But I think people in Europe and US are much more aware of data privacy rights and the ability via Web3 tools to monetize on their data. Maybe not everyone, but definitely more than emerging markets, definitely more than in Southeast Asia or in Africa, right? So yeah, I guess there's that imbalance, I would say. We can go back to...
Okay, we have 2 minutes.
Oh, wow.
They're cheating
so
with the time,
I want to talk a little bit about which, for example, Swash, which platforms and like which solutions do we have today to monetize our data?
Okay, so I'm just gonna do a minor shilling, okay, in 1 minute, explain. People, you're right, people inherently do not care about something unless there's a way to monetize on it. Unfortunately, that's human nature. And so from that perspective, Swash is a great product and easy to deploy because you download the app, you browse, you do your day-to-day internet browsing sessions, your data gets pulled, ethically pulled, it's cryptographically secured, it gets aggregated together with other data sets generated by other random individuals across the globe who also have the app, obviously, and then gets sold in a decentralized marketplace. And when someone buys it, either an entity or other people, then you get part of the revenue in Swash tokens. So it's a very simple model. It's a very Web3-ish, not Web3-ish, it's a very Web3 model. And I think it's something that easily attracts people because you earn passive income on something. You don't need to do anything. The only thing that you need to do is download the app and set up the digital wallet, and that's it. You continue doing everything that you were doing before with the additional revenue generating stream that you didn't have before. But that being said, and I work with Swash, is this everything we want? Is this our most predominant branding in crypto? This is all we want, to tell people, hey, you can make more money on stuff that you didn't make money on before? No, I think this needs to be coupled with education. For instance, if you get those tokens, you as a non-Web3 or non-crypto user, all of a sudden you have these tokens in your wallet, and you can integrate it in other DeFi applications, generate yield, learn about DeFi, etc. So it doesn't stop here. It's not just about, oh, wow, I have passive income, great. No, move further, learn about things, and then you genuinely get individual responsibility and knowledge that you can deploy as you see fit.
Great, super interesting. We have 20 seconds. You want to say something? Maybe some other solutions that you might know.
Yeah, no, I don't know any solution. I would say just keep innovating, in the end, and be aware of your privacy.
Find those solutions, right?
Find those solutions. They're there, definitely. Let's see how we can make it work, but they're there.
Okay, well, right on time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everyone.
It was very... Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the conference.